Hello and welcome to Not My Car. Friend is out in the garage, so I'm going to record in this empty bedroom. So, Mark chapter 4 of the World English Bible. Again he began to teach by the seaside. A great multitude was gathered to him, so that he entered into a boat in the sea and sat down. All the multitude were on the land by the sea. He taught them many things in parables, and told them in his teaching, "Listen! Behold, the farmer went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell by the road, and the birds came and devoured it." Could be birds of the air, could be birds of the ground. I don't know if it matters at all who devoured it. Animals came and devoured it. Others fell on the rocky ground where it had little soil, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of soil. When the sun had risen, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. Mood. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. Others fell into the good ground and yielded fruit, growing up and increasing. Some produced 30 times, some 60 times, and some 100 times as much. He said, "Whoever has ears to hear, let him hear." When he was alone, those who were around him with the 12 asked him about the parables. He said to them, "To you is given the mystery of God's kingdom, but to those who are outside, all things are done in parables, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest perhaps they should turn again, and their sins should be forgiven them." I don't understand that quote. To you is given the mystery of God's kingdom, but to those who are outside, all things are done in parables. That seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest perhaps they should turn again, and their sin should be forgiven them. See, to me that almost sounds like you are looking at God's kingdom mysteries, but if you step outside of the God kingdom realm of thinking, you can think in parables, and that's more clear, or that's a more effective way of teaching, but I'm not entirely sure that that's what he's saying here. He said to them, "Don't you understand this parable? How will you understand all of the parables? The farmer sows the word. The ones by the road are the ones where the word is sown, and when they have heard, immediately Satan comes and takes away the word which has been sown in them. These in the same way are those who are sown on the rocky places, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with joy. They have no root in themselves, but are short-lived. When oppression or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. Others are those who are sown among the thorns. These are those who have heard the word, and the cares of this age, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things entering and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. Those which were sown on the good ground are those who hear the word, and accept it, and bear fruit, some 30 times, some 60 times, and some 100 times. And so, in my most generous interpretation of this, the word is the truth. And, if you immediately receive the truth with joy, but you don't actually understand it, it doesn't match up with your internal things, you just say, "All right, I'll try this thing for a while, even though I don't really get it at all," it's not going to work. It's not going to take root. And Jesus says that when oppression or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. And so I guess that's saying that, like, even if it made you happy to hear the word and the truth in the first place, if you don't actually believe it, then as soon as someone criticizes it, you're just going to give it up, even though it is true. Others are those who are sown among the thorns. These are those who have heard the word, and the cares of this age, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And so that's saying that, even if you have the truth, it can be distorted, in this case, by greed, by selfishness, by lust. But to me, when he says in verse 13, "Don't you understand this parable? How will you understand all of the parables?" He's saying that, like, all of the parables are stories based on earth, based in the world that we share, the reality that we experience together. And so if you are capable of rational thinking, of understanding, of reason, of being reasonable, of cause and effect, of logic, you will understand all the parables, because they all take place in that world. That's the power of logic, and that's the power of honesty and using things that actually exist. He said to them, "Is the lamp brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? Isn't it put on a stand?" Literally a modion, a dry measuring basket containing about 1 peck or 9 liters. For there is nothing hidden except that it should be made known, neither was anything made secret but that it should come to light. If any man has ears to hear, let him hear. I like that a lot. Pursue the truth, no matter what. There is always more to learn. Open yourself up to new information. Stop clinging to old lies and look at the facts. Good recommendation, Jesus. Love it. If that sounded like sarcasm, I'm sorry. I just have one of those voices. I meant that. I like this chapter so far. Anything that is hidden might eventually come to light. And I think it's true. I think that the more we learn about our universe and our world, the more we might find tools that let us, I don't know about like play back past events, but like get a lot more information about past events than we currently think is even possible. And I'm excited to see, what we could learn if it takes place during my lifetime. But I like the idea. I like that as a goal to aspire to, of ultimate truth, of bringing everything to light, of like leave no stone unturned, basically. Don't give up. Keep searching. The truth is a thing. Like, we can't perceive it all. We're so small. But the more that we can perceive and learn and verify and show that this is true, the more we can use that, the more, options open up before us. He also says, if any man has ears to hear, let him hear. And I love that. If you have the ability to perceive the truth, the real world, you can do it. You probably should. You should be an independent thinker. You should use your own senses to verify everything that you hear as much as you can. It's all about balance, and you can't really know anything. But you do what you can. You look at what's most probably true and the good and bad effects of believing this or that, and you weigh it up and you make a decision. He said to them, take heed what you hear. With whatever measure you measure, it will be measured to you, and more will be given to you who hear. I like that. It's basically saying whatever scale you use, as long as you're measuring honestly, you'll be able to detect a change and you'll be able to detect the truth. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and he who doesn't have, even that which he has will be taken away from him. I don't really like that necessarily, but if you look at it in terms of whoever has truth will gain more truth, and whoever does not will just chase their lies, I guess. But like, there is the possibility to change. There's always the chance of putting down a lie and picking up the truth, or vice versa. He said, God's kingdom is as if a man should cast seed on the earth, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring up and grow, though he doesn't know how. For the earth bears fruit by itself. First the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. But when the fruit is ripe, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. He said, how will we liken God's kingdom? Or with what parable will we illustrate it? It's like a grain of mustard seed, which when it is sown in the earth, though it is less than all the seeds that are on the earth, yet when it is sown, grows up and becomes greater than all the herbs, and puts out great branches, so that the birds of the sky can lodge under its shadow. With many such parables he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. Without a parable he didn't speak to them, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, let's go over to the other side. Leaving the multitude, they took him with them, even as he was, in the boat. Other small boats were also with him. A big windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so much that the boat was already filled. He himself was in the stern, asleep on the cushion, and they woke him up and told him, Teacher, don't you care that we are dying? He awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. The wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, Why are you so afraid? How is it that you have no faith? They were greatly afraid, and said to one another, Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? And my best guess for that is that, again, either this just didn't happen, or it was good timing, or we don't actually know how long he was out there saying, Peace, be still. He could have just literally done that the entire duration of the storm to calm the people that were with him. And then when it finally fades away and they're all safe, they give him the credit. We don't know. We don't have enough information. I don't want to say for sure that that's what happened. That's just a possibility, I think. So now we're going to read it again in King James Version. Chapter 4 of Mark. And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. And he taught them many things by parables, and said unto them in his doctrine, Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came by and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him the parable. And he said unto them, Unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted, and their sins should be forgiven them. And he said unto them, Know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? The sower soweth the word. And these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately, and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. And these are they likewise, which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. I also want to say that Jesus explains it as the ones which are sown on stony ground, receive the word with gladness, have no root in themselves. And he says that when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. To me, I interpreted like the scorching almost as they burned too brightly. Like they used the word to get what they want, and maybe even to get popularity and like attention or like clout, fame, I don't know, votes. But then once that initial like surge of popularity or attention fades away, there's nothing left, and they're basically just burned out. Like they didn't actually have anything other than the flash in the pan of chasing the fad that they perceived without actually understanding it. Understanding, I think, is key. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word, and receive it, and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, Is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, and not to be set on a candlestick? For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. Yeah, I like that a lot. Put your light up. Whatever talent, whatever special thing you have, I won't say that it's here like to help other people, but it might be. Like, yeah, the reason that we evolve these strategies is basically to help each other, because at some point, we are learning that if we work together, we can be way more powerful than we ever could be alone. But part of that power comes from our own independence. As much as we are collaborating, the power is in each of us. And so it's kind of, we're still learning how to properly mesh the independent actor unit with the collective in a way that's efficient, that's effective, and that doesn't cause some of the big problems that we keep seeing over and over again in our society. And he said unto them, Take heed what ye hear, with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you, and unto you that hear shall more be given. For he that hath, to him shall be given, and he that hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he hath. Still don't like that verse. Snowball effect? No, there's always room to change. What's going up will eventually come back down. What's going down will eventually come back up, given enough time. So it seems. I don't know. And he said, So is the kingdom of God, as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up, he knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth in the sickle, because the harvest is come. And he said, Whereunto shall we liken the kingdom of God? Or with what comparison shall we compare it? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which, when it is sown in the earth, is less than all the seeds that be in the earth. But when it is sown, it groweth up, and becometh greater than all herbs, and shooteth out great branches, so that fowls of the air may lodge under the shadow of it. And with many such parables spake he the word unto them, as they were able to hear it. But without a parable spake he not unto them, and when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. I am curious what things he said to his disciples. I am curious why we don't get to hear those. God's a lie. Moses was full of shit. The world's not ready to hear that yet. They might not be ready for another 2,000 years, but that's the real shit. Don't tell anyone. I told this to a leper once, and he got me in big trouble. I mean it. Don't tell anyone. See, like, Jesus hasn't done anything like that. He hasn't been like, I'll invoke my Father upon you. Like, no, he's been a very chill guy so far, very thoughtful and understanding. I've disagreed with a couple things here and there, but, like, overall, I like what he's trying to do. He seems to be trying to unite people and get them thinking. That's great. That's what we need. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow, and they awake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose, and he rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? And I don't really like hints at Jesus' divinity. I like kind of what I came up with for the web version, which is that he was just kind of calming them down until the storm passed, which is a great thing to do for your friends. Because, I mean, there's nothing you can do about the storm. You can't actually stop the storm or tell it to go away. But you can help people pass. You can help people, like, you know. Your panic isn't going to stop the storm either, right? So you might as well calm down, not expend all your energy panicking and running around, and just ride out the storm as best you can. You know, definitely be prepared for, like, if lightning struck the boat, what would you do kind of situation. But, like, you have all those plans just, you know, kind of in the back of your mind, and, like, that's all you can do. It's already prepared for as much as it can be, so then you just wait, see what happens. And so that is my interpretation. I also really like how Jesus is like, Why are you so fearful? And the next line is like, They feared exceedingly. Like, they're still scared, even though he's asking them, like, Dude, yeah, y'all don't gotta be scared. I'm like, I'm in control, everything's okay. And they're still scared because they just don't believe it, even though it's right in front of their eyes, which is very understandable. That is humanity in a nutshell. So thank you for watching Mark chapter 4. Next time we'll be back with chapter 5.